Hi everyone. It's Tuesday and it's March. What is this? Saturday was the 16th, so 17, 18. Today's the 19th of March. It's the last of the really beautiful days that we're going to have. We had a stretch of almost a week, but I was really busy with work last week. So even though my wholesale order came in on Thursday, I wasn't able to deal with anything until the weekend. And before I could start planting up my ranunculus and anemones that came in on a wholesale order, I had to get the ranunculus and anemones that I had started February 1st planted. So I'm going to show you how I planted them. It's just a short little clip, but we'll do that first before we do the garden tour. Getting ready to plant my ranunculus. So here's my 2 strawberry beds. This bed is edged with garlic. It's going to have my black button bachelor buttons in here, 2 peonies. This is the bed that I'm going to start with the ranunculus that I started February 1st. Now you can see I've got black pickets marking out the 8-foot length and the 4-foot width. Those black pickets actually came from our old deck rails, which were white pickets. I spray painted them black. I love them. I've then got an 8-foot 1x1 along the edge so that I can easily see where the edge is, and then a broken piece along the end there. These were ripped off of 2x4s, they're pine. A couple more peonies in here. Some things I'm not going to dig out. This parsley self-seeded. I've got marjoram or oregano, I can't remember which one this one is. That's going to stay here. Clearly the buttercup's going to go, and that little piece of bramble is going to go. Foxglove I'll probably leave. I'm going to go through here and weed. There's something else in here that's going to stay. And these are, I can't remember what alliums they are that are growing up. They never grew in a 1-gallon pots. I had a couple of them, so I dumped the soil in here, and they actually grew and bloomed last year, so they're staying. And the rest is going to get weeded out. And then once it's all weeded, I'm going to go over to where all my ranunculus are finished hardening off, and have been for a while, but the weather did not allow for planting. As you can see, seriously root bound. That's not a bodacious. I used to have one year I had a dahlia tuber in there, obviously. Clearly ready to plant. All the roots are like that in all the pots. I've got them organized by color. I'm going to start on this side with the blush ranunculus. Then I move over to picote. Then I move over to white and orange. Then I've actually got a red one here, which is supposed to be over here, because these ones are red too. Those are the only red ones I have. These are all ones that I bought 3 years ago, so they've more than paid for themselves already. Ranunculus corms might be expensive to start off with, but seriously, if you can dig them up and reuse them and they divide, not so expensive after all. Once those are planted, I'm going to do my anemones. I have blueberry anemones here. I didn't have good, I had a whole pile of that didn't make it, so clearly too wet. They rotted. I had the soil too wet, but it was fine for the ranunculus. So just note to self that the anemones like it drier than the ranunculus do for next year. But that's okay, because I got a whole bunch more anemones coming in. Of course, I also have a whole bunch more ranunculus coming in. They're already here. I got them 2 days ago. So once all these pots are emptied out, they're going to get the new corms in them because I need the pots for them. It's Saturday, March, I don't know the date, I'll put it up. And we've got a nice, beautiful 16-degree and sunny day. Look at that, isn't that just stunning? Time to get planting. So you'll notice that as I'm taking the ranunculus out of the pots, that it is taking a while to wiggle out, and when I took them out, some of the roots are being left behind. But look how easy it is to have taken the 2 ranunculus apart with that divider that's in between them of the milk container. So that worked out perfectly. And then I'm putting a little yogurt container cut off label in with each one, so that when I dig it up, it will be really easy to pull each one up individually. Okay, we're going to start the garden tour on the northern bed, and I've got the sweet peas planted in there. Now last year, I got all my sweet peas planted the 3rd week of February, which is when I normally do it, but we had an extra cold spell this year. So I couldn't do it. It was too cold, and then we actually had almost a foot of snow, which took a while to melt. And we were only supposed to get like an inch, which was like no big deal, but we ended up with a foot, and it took about a week to melt. And when I normally do it in February, what I do is, because it is early, I have these bottomless milk containers, and I use them as cloches over top of the sweet peas. Didn't have to do that because I only planted them yesterday, and it's a moot point to have to put them on at this time of year. So my setup is a little different than I've done it in previous years, simply because I'm about 4 weeks, 16, yeah. 3 weeks, about 3 weeks late from when I normally plant them. Let's get on with the tour. So for a point of reference, those are the 2 strawberry beds over there. The second bed here is where the ranunculus is planted. This bed is where I started the anemones. And over here is the fifth and final bed, because here's the neighbor's fence. And it's got our sweet peas in it. Now if I get into the bed and I can step on this stuff here is so that Zena and Leela don't dig into my direct composting, which I also did yesterday. And with the direct composting of all the kitchen scraps, I also put in all the weeds and garden debris that I took off the ranunculus and anemone beds, etc., and sweet pea beds, etc. So, as you can see here, the sweet peas, I gotta shorten my little stick here that I'm holding my phone on. I've got all these short little wire fences, rusty wire fences. They're all from Dollarama. They serve a really good purpose. They run the whole length of the sweet pea bed in here, as well as one in the front garden. And when the sweet peas are really little, I can tuck them onto there. And then as they get bigger, I can put my, I put in the 1x1 garden stakes that I use to edge the bed. These things, I just shove them down into the dirt, and then the sweet peas can tangle themselves away around that. But they need the little wire fencing first to get nicely established in a vertical way. So in this bed, I also have 6 deciduous peonies. I've got some foxgloves at the end of the bed that I put here that were in the way. I'm not sure if those are garlic popping up there. And I'm going to get my first planting of lettuce in here as well. I have the seedlings ready to go, just haven't done it. Along our fence here, in front of it, I have perennials, and this is where I have my astilbe and a bunch of other things that I'm blanking out on right now. If I think of them, I'll just put it up on the screen. So this next bed, this is pretty cool. This is kale that was planted not last fall, but the fall before. It went to flower and seed last year, and it's still doing fine. It looks really funny because I thought it was going to die because it's, it's 2 years old. So I cut off everything that was usable and we froze it because we put it in the dog's food, because kale is really good for the dogs. But it must be a perennializing type of kale. But I looked up the name of perennializing kale and I didn't recognize it, so it certainly wasn't what I planted that I thought of. Anyway, I've got 2 kale plants here that have survived for more than 2 years and gone through flowering and seeding. I hope they're perennializing because that makes life easy. Right along here is my blueberry anemones. So they got planted on Saturday and today's Tuesday, so they're looking really, really good. I planted them, I don't know, about this deep. I didn't measure, somewhere between 3 and 4 inches. I have the little labels so that when I dig them up in the fall, I can just put the shovel into the label and lift up, and it'll bring up the corm. Or not in the fall, probably in August or July. I got a Ito peony here. Got some daisies that popped up here. So I weeded only to the Ito peony, and I left all the other weeds in here because they're doing a purpose. The roots of these weeds, they're really shallow weeded. As you can see that, there's not much to the roots. They're really easy to pull up. but they keep the soil healthy. They're like a ground cover for the winter. I mean, why pull up all your weeds and plant a ground cover when you can just use the weeds as a ground cover? Unless, of course, you're talking about a really invasive weed. Same thing with all the stalks of whatever I had growing there. I leave everything in so that it can keep the soil healthy for the winter. The third bed, which is the middle bed, this is where I am overwintering my lavender cuttings, which don't look very good. We did get a couple of really, really cold winter nights this year, well, much colder than normal. So I'm not sure how they're going to fare. I got garlic growing this side, garlic growing this side. Oh, by the way, this whole bed will be mostly full of anemones once they all get planted. And then at the front of the bed will probably be tomatoes. This will all be ranunculus. Same thing, front of the bed will be tomatoes. And of course I've got 2 Ito peonies in here as well. Look at all those buds on that. Isn't that just amazing? This is something that's really interesting. No, I don't know if this happens with herbaceous peonies, but with Ito peonies, if you don't cut them back, you get growth stalks on all the stalks that, well, not all of them, because clearly this one doesn't have one, but on almost all the stalks. This one doesn't look like it's doing too well. It probably got frozen. You got buds on them, so you can have way more stalks and flowers by not cutting the whole thing back. Dog toy. Up against the garage here, I can do about 250 sunflowers. I also do sunflowers traveling down the back of the garage there. And then we're into the second bed, and this is the bed that I planted the ranunculus in, that you saw me doing some planting in. And as you can see, they look great. They were planted on Saturday, so it's 3 days later. They just look really, really good. There's the alliums, which I still can't remember. I haven't looked up what they are yet. Put that on the screen again. And the hyacinth's starting to bloom. There's one in there, in amongst all this mess. There's a pink one. This is the first bed, and I planted my bachelor buttons yesterday. So I think they're looking really, really good for less than 24 hours, because I think I finished planting them about 5 p.m. yesterday, and right now it's just after lunch. Garlic. Garlic. Look at this Ito peony. Here, I'll just give you a top view. Look at all the buds on that. Oh, that's just stunning. Love that look. All the red tomato cages are for the peonies, so that I don't mix them up with the other ones. Down here in all these pots, labeled by color, are different types of mints that I took cuttings off. So the green is apple mint, the brown is chocolate mint, the blue is peppermint, and the yellow is pineapple mint. So these are hopefully going to do well and be available for sale. These guys coming up here, these are alliums that accidentally got dumped in here in a pot that I forgot they must have been in there, and they did really well, bloomed last year. I've actually read that alliums are good pairings, like ornamental alliums are good pairings with Ito peonies. Look at that Ito peony. That looks great. It's a little bunch of crocuses. I tried to dig that bunch of crocuses up, and I don't know how low the corms are, but I gave up. They're way, way, way too low. So here's my 2 strawberry beds. Still got crocuses blooming in them. This is my hair allium in here. These are some other alliums that I had before. There's my globe alliums, the medium-sized ones, and the big one's just coming up over there. Yeah, so that's a quick look at what's happening in the back flower beds. It doesn't look like much, but there's lots going on. I'm now going to show you the seedlings that I have left to plant, which will only take a couple seconds, and then I'm going to show you the front garden, what's happening there. So here's my lettuce plants. This is Drunken Lady. We got romaine over here. Forget the name of the romaine. It's my favorite romaine. I'll put it on the screen. And then we just have some leaf or butter lettuce as well. But there's no rush on these because the roots are not really coming out the bottom yet. They're looking really healthy in here. I just love the coloring of the Drunken Lady. Over here is still some mint that never got planted last year because it didn't have any roots on it, but that one still doesn't. This one clearly does because it's growing green. So all these roots that are on the bottom there. There, can you see roots in there? Anyway, that all happened over winter because I just left them in the jar. Here's another one, clearly with roots on it. I mean, the tops aren't really growing yet because it's not the season for mint. And my snapdragons, which have to get planted. But that happens in the front yard. They're pretty much ready to go. They're not root bound yet either, so I'm not too concerned about them. Now let's go up. See, that's a short little driveway that goes up to our garage, and the front of this side of the garage has the plexiglass panels that I can use as a greenhouse if need be. That's where I do my bouquet making station. As we go up the driveway, there's 3 concrete beds here, each that holds approximately 100 sunflowers. And on this side is a shade garden, which the dogs have taken over, so not too much exciting happens anymore in here because that's where they hang out in the heat of the summer. But so I've turned it into a bit of an art walk. I've moved my shepherd's hook to this location, and the shepherd's hooks was thrifted. This cool little copper hanger was also thrifted. But this bee hanger and this owl hanger I got at Willow's Market. And I like them in there, tucked in there. That's my camellia bush. I've got a little cycle in here. I will eventually put some shade plants in there because the dogs won't be able to destroy them. I got this at Willow's Market over Christmas time. I love it there. Then of course here are my two of my tree keepers that my friend Donna made for me on corbels that I thrifted. I got this Tree of Life thrifted. I got the spider, which has bird crap on it, at Willow's Market. This is my big rhododendron. Everything's lopped up so you can get underneath it. And these 2 little guys on the fence came from Canadian Tire. And Ezra's doing what she likes to do, get my attention by putting the ball on the wrong side of the fence. This is standard play for us. That's the driveway gate. So there's our driveway gate. Dahlia bed, 2 dahlia beds in the center, 1 up against the end, and 1 over there underneath my sign. What I did this winter is I put 2 new beds in here. I still have to, and I'm going to do it before the dahlias get planted. I'm going to do, Ezra, come over here. Sit. Stay. Sit, stay. Good dog. Stay. I have enough of these tiles left over to do 2 more rows. It'll take me to the end of that. So I don't have this little jog in here. And then that'll be good until the dahlias get planted. But we of course do want to eventually take it all the way down to, sorry, I just twisted my phone around, hang on. Back again, take it all the way down to where it goes up to our front porch there. So this bed, which is 4 by 8, I prepped for half the winter, did a lot of direct composting in here to make the soil a lot better because it was pretty crappy. That's where the snapdragons are all going to go. This bed over here, which is full of pots of my daffodils, hyacinths, and tulips. This is where 2 plantings of sunflowers are going to go. Look at my hyacinths. Now, I was hoping I'd be able to get them up on the road for Easter. It's only March 17th. That's a week and a half away. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I might have to get them up on the road before then because, I mean, look at that one. They're looking really, really, really good. So really, really happy about that. I mean, the daffodils are looking great too, but there's, you know, they're just basically breaking soil surface. And same with the tulips. Over here, that's just some pots of chives. And then over here on this north bed, which also holds dahlias, but at the back of it, where I've got my new trellises mixed in with my old ones, all that I got put up here last fall. This is where my other planting of sweet peas is going to be. Well, actually it's the second of third. So as you can see, I did the same thing. I've got them planted with those low metal fancy things from the Dollarama so that they can hold themselves vertically up against that. And then as they get taller, they can go on the rest of these trellises. And I'm doing some direct composting. I've gone from there to here and continue on along that way. These are all bluebells. They're just wild here. They just pop up wherever they want. Look at this massive bluebells right here. But they all get used. And if I swing around this way, where am I going to look? I'm going to go back to, so I have this arch here. Look at Leela's over there. Leela and Esri. On both sides of, hi. Say hi to the camera. Say hi to the camera. Okay, off. Back. At the bottom of both sides of these trellis, I've got 3 sweet peas. Dogs are going nuts now because I was talking to them. See, there's one. So I'm going to see if I can grow sweet peas up this arbor this winter. Okay. Sit. Both of you sit. Stay. Look at those good dogs. Update. It's 3 p.m. on March 21st and I'm planting my lettuce. Look how great they look. Oh, so excited. So that's about my spacing. I don't know what my spacing is. They're about a foot apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, a little less than a foot apart because the bed's 4 feet and I don't go to the end because the sweet peas are there. So yeah, really happy with how the lettuce plants are looking. This is romaine. Still have to look up the kind. It's my favorite kind. Something to do with the Pacific. Yeah, it'll be on the screen. So if you enjoyed the tour, and more importantly, if you enjoyed seeing Leela and Esri in the tour, I'm going to put a short little clip now with them just running across the beach and into the ocean because it's been such glorious days. And yeah, it's only a short little, I don't even think it's a minute long, but you might enjoy it. Okay. So that's the tour of the garden. If you want, those were all done from seeds, the seedlings in my seed room. If you want to see all of the seeds that I had growing in my seed room for this section that have not been planted yet, check out this video over here. Thanks for watching. Bye.